have audio.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
think.
had to unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, and it's being picked up. Yay!
Hey, everybody.
So thank you guys for joining us tonight and such. The mini sessions, because of our delay and things at the beginning, the audio wasn't picked up. Going on, it's just about shopping on Amazon. Yeah, it's all Amazon Prime deals. I am so bummed. I went earlier today and I watch all these cool things, and I bet they're gonna all be gone. So
You can multitask like some of us.
no, I can't. I barely can tie my shoe and blow bubble gum at the same time, or whatever they call that thing. I don't know.
Chewing on your shoes and tying bubble gum?
Yeah, that was it. Oh,
Thanks
you guys.
everyone for waiting. John's you were just going to say the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Jason had some great information. He needed another about 10 minutes, and he really, he really pushed some great stuff. That's all going to be in the insider area. We're going to trim and put things together and put it in the insider area, and you can watch those individually. And Jason's got a lot of stuff there to take in his Venn diagram that he put together. Great information that you need to absorb, because I think there's going to be some things there that in what I was overhearing as I'm struggling to get everything put back together. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's a cool idea. I'm going to have to go back and watch that one again myself. So, and then of course the most fabulous one was the itinerary one.
Of course. That had to be the best one of the night.
That was easily the best one of the night. In case you didn't know, MJ and Shaney itinerary was dance.
Yeah.
I tried to tune in to watch, but I couldn't get it to work. So.
Wait, you tried to tune in to watch yourself?
Of course, why not?
Well,
You're supposed to watch yourself afterwards.
I'm trying to get that viewership up, one person at a time.
I guess that would help.
He wants to watch it, and then he wants to start heckling himself. Hey, what do you think? What do you know about it?
That's something I would do. Yeah, that MJ's a jerk in it.
Yeah, get him off the screen, man.
So I hope with all that extra time, you guys come up with some good questions. That's all I want to say.
I think someone said they had 30 of them, but they forgot them all.
That works.
Let's see. Somebody's talking about photo booth with the iPad.
Why rent a photo booth? Just do that. See, I kill all the wedding DJs. It's like, you don't need a wedding DJ. Just do a playlist, have everybody take pictures and upload them. You don't need a freaking wedding DJ. You pay too much for them.
MJ, I think your mic is just a little bit, it feels like it's at the very top.
Yeah, because I actually had turned it up. I was working on something else.
Okay.
I do remember that now.
Perfect.
Is that better?
I think so.
Yeah. I was re-recording the beginning of John and I have been looking at numbers for all our shows, and just out of the blue decided to go look at, I have this, if you ever went to my channel, there's this the show called The Mat, which is only about 1 minute or less shows, and it was kind of designed to just be able to throw the videos up on Instagram and stuff. And I just recently glanced at it and realized that, holy cow, I have a lot of hits on those. I mean, thousands of hits on those for a channel that, John's channel has, 11 or 12,000 subscribers?
Yeah, something like that.
I got 300 on mine, and I have thousands of views on those things. So I'm totally now going to focus on them. And I was just recording the whole new beginning for them. So that's why my mics were cranked up. So look for stuff like that. We got all kinds, like I said, we say 1,000 times on this show. Let us know what you want us to do. We really look for ideas and look for things to make the shows more interesting to you. And that includes having Shaney eat on the air. We were trying to get her. She has a phone call she has to take later for her business that we're trying to get her to do that on the air. But I'm sure there's some sort of
this could be so much fun. What we could do is every sentence, every time she has to talk, we're going to give her a keyword she has to use in that sentence.
Meow, meow. How are you doing?
Oh my God, when I get to LA tomorrow, they're going to be like, we don't know if we really want you to run our conference.
Yeah, you do. She's going to Snapchat you.
Right?
Speaking of Snapchats, have you seen the new plugins for the little filters?
No, have not.
The face swapping filters. Believe it or not, Saturday night I was DJing, and the owner of the place I was DJing, every time he's there, he's in the booth. I'm trying to DJ, and he's talking to me, showing me things. I'm thinking about investing in this and all this stuff. He starts doing this Snapchat to where you can take a picture of anybody. I can take a picture of John, put it in my my phone or my tablet's picture thing, and then go in there, and with Snapchat, I can touch the screen and then it reads my face, and then I can pick that other person's picture and it puts their face over mine for a live video. So it's I would look like John. I'm telling you, it looks so dead on. I look like John and I'm talking and my mouth's moving, but it's me.
Wow.
And they have so many of them. There's one where you can be a giraffe and talk as a giraffe. It's freaking hilarious. But he was doing stuff like Tom Selleck and Brad Pitt and trying to do these videos. And what's the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean?
Johnny Depp.
He was doing Johnny Depp and all these ones. And then you could take old people. He got an old person one with a wrinkly face and took a picture of a girl that was standing there and then showed it to her. And she's like, I'm a lawyer. I don't give you permission to do that. But there are all kinds of cool stuff you can do on Snapchat with that. Like I said, I'm trying to brush him off, but all of a sudden I'm going, that's kind of interesting. But I got a DJ. Like, what's he doing? I got a DJ. So go check that out. Snapchat is a wonderful way to grow your business, whether you think it is or not, to show your personality. That's one of the things John and I have been looking at some of the other people that make lots of hits on YouTube. It's personality. So how much are you selling your personality out there? That's my question for the night.
There you go. In Deep Thoughts with MJ.
Scary if that's my deep thought. Water or the new Sprite Cherry? Smart water or the new Sprite Cherry? I'm going to go with neither. I'm going to go with my signature drink at the bars. Everyone knows it. Half Sprite, half cranberry juice, no ice.
No, I just did a Sprite.
Sprite. You did the Sprite challenge, but by the way, John and I both think. I know.
Challenge.
Did you not see like the 4 days of Snapchats all from this amusement park?
I know. John and I are jealous of your DJ booth for that day. For those of you who don't know, go to her page and look at the DJ booth. She got to use it with Six Flags.
That was at Six Flags.
Six Flags. Yeah. She was doing a thing for Sprite, and they gave her a tent that became, I thought, it was the coolest DJ booth
Isn't
ever.
it really cool? Yeah. We had it by day 2. We were good with it. Day 1, it was flying all over the place and flying on top of me. By day 2, we hunkered it down, but it was it was all Sprite all day long. Yeah, it was really cool.
How do you move a business from one state to another? Is that what it is?
Yep.
I actually have a friend that just did that. And you start with, if you have a web page or Facebook pages, and start with tagging your new city, just tag all your web pages in the metadata with the new city, do lots of things like that to begin with. And then I would say beyond that, go into like the local advertising, like the Thumbtack and different things like that can show you local. And then the most important thing, network. And what did I say a few weeks ago? Go introduce yourself.
Yep, exactly. There's a lot of venues in the area. You can spend a little time researching those. There's probably some kind of a bridal guide, and those aren't the greatest things, but venues still are advertising in those bridal guides. Find out where what's hot in the area, and network is really the best way to start. Unless you suck.
Oh,
yeah, but by the time they find that out, you've got at least 3 or 4 gigs in.
Hey, I know lots of DJs who suck and make a lot of money. Trust me.
Yeah,
true. True.
So earlier in the questions while you guys were chatting, I was trying to see. Apparently, there's some questions about the money dance. A couple of them were asking about that. I guess I kind of took it for granted people knew what it was. So no, it is not getting the bride drunk.
Oh no.
It does not involve booty, bling, or brass poles.
No.
Well, then it's not my show.
So for those of you that are not familiar with it, there's a couple different versions, but the one that I was referring to in the itinerary segment that I did, you start out, it's the bride, it's the groom, they're in the middle of the dance floor, and you're forming 2 lines, one to dance with the bride, one to dance with the groom. They come up, they put $1, $2, $5, whatever they want to put into the basket, and then they take a shot. After they take the shot, then they go out and they dance with the bride or groom. Now, I will say, though, early on in my career, one of the first times I did this dance, my couple informed me that there was a tradition that if the person taking the shot didn't want to do it, they could bring it to the bride or groom. And they started doing that.
Ooh.
And my groom was an army guy who could handle his liquor, and my bride was a thin little girl who couldn't. And fortunately, it was the last thing we did of the night because one moment she's standing dancing, the next minute she's flat on the floor, passed out.
So the way you do it, they have to take a shot. Do they still pin the money on the? Oh, so
no pinning of money. Money
it
goes
goes-
into a, like, sometimes even a Crown Royal bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Money goes into just a nice bag, and
Okay.
then that by the maid of honor or best man, whoever's collecting it, and they take the
Okay.
shot. Now they don't have to take the shot. The tradition, kind of more acceptable tradition, rather than giving it to the bride or groom, the maid of honor or the best man, if the couple doesn't want to take it, they do the shot.
Yeah, we don't do alcohol by us because we do it for like all ages to do any, if, like even the little kids want to come over and dance with them and give them the money. So for us, there's no alcohol involved in our money dance that we do for them.
Well, if the kid comes up, then they just don't.
Yeah, we're not
Kids-
going to give the kid alcohol. Kid, you got to take the drink, dude.
Kids-
I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen some do
Man up,
alcoholic
kid.
Jello shots and non-alcoholic Jello shots, so that if there is a kid that comes up, they can still do that.
Wouldn't it,
I don't have any
non-alcohol-
hand in that. That's why I get the maid of honor. I get
That's
the best
gonna
man.
suck if it's cash bar.
They step in. Well, at my wedding, the place, we had an open bar, but the place
Yeah.
wanted to charge us by the shot within the bottle. So a bottle of liquor that would cost $10 at the liquor store was
Yeah.
going to cost us $90 to use for the dollar dance, and we said nope. So we did Hershey Kisses at my wedding.
There you go.
Um,
See?
But no, the whole idea of pinning and stuff like that,
Yeah.
that's nothing I've run into. Now I have done a Polish one where they stick the money in the apron of the girl.
I've seen the apron ones. Yep.
But that's kind of the same idea,
Yeah.
only it's polka that's playing instead of.
There's a tradition with that a family member is supposed to make that little apron, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, that is by us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Hopefully that answered the question. I don't know. It's not to get anybody drunk. At least that's not the plan with the dollar dance. So
It does not involve bending over, touching your knees to your elbows.
Oh.
I told people tonight, because they stuck around, I would either say something stupid, silly, or do something dangerous to keep them waiting. So I've got to keep them entertained. I'm
so
in a bit
far
here.
so good.
In a bit, I may end up licking a 9-volt battery on the air. If we
do it
raise
now.
enough money, it'll be my motorcycle battery, and if you put up a lot of money, I'll get the car battery. And then if we get a lot of money, then I'm going to have to go borrow a taser off someone, and I lick the taser.
Oh boy, this is great TV. I'm just saying.
Hey, my tongue here. Wait, I can't feel my tongue.
Where did my tongue go?
I can't feel my tongue. There's my teeth puff.
This is it. That was-
I know, fat and big bone.
wow, old school South Park.
That was old school.
Yeah, sorry, folks. I tend to dip back into my broad range of mental disorderly quotes. Just wondering, was there a question with just wondering? I see yes, just wondering.
Oh, I don't know. I'm looking.
Something about the bride raining on the bride. Don't know. Gosh, we're getting up too many bride questions tonight. Let's do some.
Well, I think it's all tied to what.
It is tied
Let's
to
do-
the money.
No, let's do
Yeah.
groom questions. Which side was better all around performance? Yamaha DTX 18 or the QS? Oh, that's a tough call. I've heard them both. Mine would go to the QSC by a small margin. By small, because John and I were standing next to the Yamaha one year at the expo, and as loud as have you ever been to the expo, there's just constant noise, and this thing come on, and we're like, holy crap, we can hear this way above everything else. So
Yeah, the expo's around the corner.
yes, I've had people asking me questions about that already, and I don't
Like
know
what?
the answers.
Like what?
Am I going? I had a guy ask me, and I forgot to respond to him. Asked me if I'm going to the BPM conference in the UK. And I'm waiting on John to approve that for the business trip.
Oh, he approves it. He's just not paying for it.
There you go.
Yeah, dance in charge.
Well,
of
you'll see us at the expo. We'll all be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, MJ, groom questions. I don't know. Do I hear somebody have any groom questions? I don't even know.
Not so
Well, it
much.
doesn't have to be bridegroom questions. It could be
We prefer like club and party questions. Those are better. Those are more exciting. Those are more exciting. I was having a discussion with someone the other day because I've really started embracing being able to tie my computer into Wi-Fi at events and use the Spotify drag and drop, and which not just Spotify, but you can pick whatever you want, whichever one you want to subscribe to. And I'm really looking at the fact of how easily it is to access songs you don't have through something like that, because Serato does it with Pulse Locker and a couple other ones. How much I really think the next generation DJs are going to thoroughly embrace that, more than I even predicted before, now that I'm doing it. That's my thought. It's not a question, it's a statement. Let's discuss.
Well, I think you're spot on with your Spotify. No, I have a couple of friends of mine who are jumping on it as well, especially with VDJs, Content Unlimited and stuff like that. They're taking it and they're running with it, and why not? I mean, it's available to you. Might as well make use of it. I think when we talked about this a while back, John had mentioned, I think 5G was like the next thing that was on the horizon, and when that comes on board, and that
or
really
the Verizon, right?
Yeah. That's what you did there.
When that comes along and just kind of really increases our coverage, if you will, so we're not running into a situation where we're in a venue that just has no signal. I think that alone will almost instantly put it in play. For me, that's what holds out. I was in a venue on Saturday. Where I was standing, nothing. I didn't even have service on my cell phone.
Really?
I take 5 steps towards the wall and I got 1 bar. I put my phone by the window. I've got 3 bars.
Well, were there any Wi-Fi within the venue or around the venue you could pick up on? Were you close?
No.
Okay. Because I actually did an outdoor gig a while back near a school, and I'm like, let's see what I can get. And I got the school's Wi-Fi, and I asked the teachers who were there it was an outdoor festival. And I'm like, can I get the password for the teacher's Wi-Fi? And they're like, yeah. And I mean, I was a long ways away from it. So that's the thing that it's odd that it's a hit or miss, because here in the city, literally, I don't know a place that I can't get Wi-Fi in the city. And I'm not talking off my phone hotspot. I'm talking absolutely anywhere whatsoever. You can get it. But I also recently switched phones and be able to get the hotspot, because we talked about before, on the phone for that. So if your phone, Dan, like you said, if you're in a place where you can't, then you're stuck all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, mic presence, question on that. There's who teaches mic presence? I do a little bit in my class. I talk basics on it about tuning, because you talk in different areas. You talk from your nose, your mouth, your throat, your chest, or your diaphragm, and you have to talk on each person and where they talk from, and how to adjust mics, and how to do things, and little tricks I do about leaning forward, leaning backward changes your voice, leaning your throat up, leaning your throat down can change the tones and stuff you can hit, loudness, quietness, what to do when your throat gets wore out, how to get different sounds, so if you can't get a lot of volume out, stuff like that. But I think you're more talking about charisma. Is that what you would take that they're asking, John?
Could easily be. I mean, there's so many aspects of microphone, because without the basics of what you're just talking about, you're not going to be successful with a microphone in your hand. So there's obviously, MJ, you've done some teaching of the basics, going to a different level where you're more into performance side of it. Something as simple as even Toastmasters will help you on a local, but nationally in the DJ industry, you've got Mark Farrell, who does a very in-depth version of his presentation, or his microphone skills and presentation. Randy Bartlett has a nice workshop that I don't know if he's going to be doing it again, but he may have some resources on his DVDs. And I know some of his 1% solution do cover some of the different things. Someone else is doing some microphone things. I'm completely
everybody that I've ever talked to, first thing they say is Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Because it gets you used to also that, or if you have a chance to do improv of any sort, it gets you comfortable. That's one of the key things, is get comfortable with talking off the cuff, I think. And also the Toastmasters prepares you also for a properly prepared speech too.
And even the improv, when you're talking about speaking off the cuff, in improv class or 6 is definitely beneficial, because that idea of being in the moment and being right there so that you can react to what's going on, and to be able to enunciate the direction you want to take this, whatever went on, the improv class is a great spot for that. So you're adding, all these different little aspects and components together. And I've even talked about the idea of reading books to children and being animated enough to be able to read those books and enunciate and to keep their attention and all these different aspects of it. It really does become a great training opportunity.
Yeah. And I always say practice too. I mean, besides doing all that, I mean, I was an MC before I was a DJ. For me, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, but I actually went from being a dancer on events to a co-MC to learning from the MCs to an MC to a DJ. So, and I just would go home and practice in the mirror. I just practicing, just saying stuff and, always just starting with, okay, if I'm going to start this set, how am I going to start this set? How am I going to introduce this into the room? How am I going to bring everybody up from dinner to a blank dance floor? I got to command the crowd. How am I going to do that? So besides going to that stuff, it's practicing and have a mentor, see if you could go to their events and watch them and practice and learn from them. I mean, don't bite their skills, but practice and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
I with what he's talking about, I mean, I get where you kind of see some of these people that are polished and you go, oh, they're just a natural. And there is maybe some natural ability that can play into it. But exactly what everybody's saying, this is definitely something that you can learn, that you can practice, that you can, learn those little ins and outs on how to make yourself be polished so that it does sound like it's just a natural outpouring of who you are. And if you're not willing to practice, that's where it's going to fall apart, no matter whether you have natural ability or not.
Here's a question. Do people who talk to themselves, are they better public speakers?
Do they talk to themselves out loud or do they talk to themselves like in their head?
No, people who talk to themselves or hear voices, do you think they're better public speakers?
No, it doesn't. No.
It depends.
I don't think so.
If they enunciate and speak
well,
clearly,
they're talking. That's the thing.
Yeah. But if they're probably lazy, they'll probably get into little mumbly or little quirks of their dialect that's going to cause problems.
Someone asked in the chat room about how do you organize your music. I'm probably the worst person to ask on that because I've gone through several different ways of doing it. Back in the days, it was all about BPM. And then it went from BPM to decades, and then decades to genres, and then genres to years. So it's a little odd right now with the way, because like when we started out on records and CDs, it was, you kind of either put your records or CDs in an organized manner of style for what night you're doing, and then mark them by BPM or whatever, and then went on to computer stuff. Now with the way that you can tag the songs, you almost don't even have to organize. You just make sure your tags are marked year, genre, etc., and to just search for that. So I don't know.
It really depends too on what type of events you do. For me, I think that depends on how you organize your music. I know a lot of wedding DJs have crates, especially for those weddings. And they have like their requests in there and they have like certain things that they always go to at weddings, and then I know people that do school parties have crates, just, these are like the party starters for my schools. These are the sing-alongs for my schools. These are this, these are that.
Take a second, explain the difference between putting stuff in folders and crates. Explain crates to them.
Okay.
Because they're two different things. I
mean, there's sub crates.
Because you can have something in a folder and then put it in a crate.
Right. I mean, I'm going to ask this to a question. There's crates in virtual DJ and all the other ones too, right?
Yeah.
I'm a Serato girl, sorry.
They call them virtual. They call them virtual folders on
or virtual playlists also, which I don't like the word playlist because that intends that you're just going to stick it there and let it play all the way through. Okay. But you're still grouping stuff that you're not actually moving the physical file. So
right. For instance, I have a folder that has subcrates in it. The folder that I have is actually a lot of my ethnic music. A lot of those have subcrates that I use. So like, for instance, if I go into my Latino folder, it's got all my Latino music in it. But then there's sub crates that I have in there for my reggaeton music, which is Latino, but it's just reggaeton. Then I have the bachata music. Then I have the cumbia music. Then, you know, and I have stuff like that. So if I just want to do my reggaeton, I don't have to go to the Latino music. I could go right to the reggaeton.
Now, question, when you put it, let's say you put it, when you're putting it in your hard drive, are you separating those in folders first and then going in?
I am so like particular with all my music because I do so many types of events. I like, even the Pioneer guys, when they see my Serato, they're like, oh my goodness, I wish my Serato looked like yours. Wow. Because like, I am just, you know, I'm updating I have to update weekly because of the club. So I'm always updating, and I'm just really particular about where things are, because especially in the club, and if I'm even hot mixing on an event, I'm trying to find music like this. Of course, you guys know when there's 30 seconds left and I don't know what to play. I go to my Fitball. but yeah, you know, I'm very particular about stuff like these are club bangers. You know, yeah, I used to do things like these are, you know, from the 70s, 80s, and I still have those type of crates. I have crates that are disco, Motown, 60s, 60 Motown, 60s rock, things like that. But then I also have like, you know, kids sing-alongs, adult sing-alongs, you know, so if I'm ever doing something where I'm doing kids versus adults, I don't have to think anymore. I could go right into that folder and go like, okay, I have the kids on this side, they're going to sing Chainsmokers, and I have the adults on this side and they're going to sing Don't Stop Believing. So it's like, I just have crazy stuff like that. So it's really, there's really no right or wrong way to organize your music. It's more of a preference of what you like, or actually how you started DJing, because like MJ
how you
said,
think
if you started with the records or the CDs and things like that, and you had it organized in a certain way, I bet you that's probably how you organized your music on your hard drive.
Yeah, that's why mine went from one to the other.
So right. So it's like it's you know, it's just more of a preference of what you like and how you like it. And you know, I remember when I first went digital, I moved it around so many times in so many different ways because I had to figure out what was the best way for me to try to find music. So it's just, it's a preference for you guys.
I would suggest, this is something I suggest all the time, is tagging your songs when you load them. And when I say that, go into the tag editor I'm pretty sure Serato's tag editor, you can mark everything in there and mark your year, mark your genre, mark the genre the way you want to mark it. Because like she said, there's certain things, I don't put my slow songs in a folder. I mark them all slow songs or slow dance. Actually, I think I marked the ones. So when I do the search, I just search slow dance and it brings up all the songs that I had marked as slow dance. So they're not in a folder. I could do that. I could do the folders or the crates or whatever, but stuff like that, like with, I can do a search for 100 to 105 BPM. So I can do 100-105 space 1980-1989. And then it'll bring up all the songs that are in that BPM range, in the year range, and then I can sort it by play count, the ones I've played a lot and ones I haven't played a lot. So it lets you, it almost to the point, that's why I said that you started back in the day really serious, and then when you got the CDs and then transferred over to the MP3s, that's when you really started foldering stuff, you know, it got really detailed. But now you almost don't need to, but I recommend taking the time, even if it's 5 minutes a week, and organizing your stuff, because trust me, in a pinch, like Shani said, that 30 seconds left, you'll be like, oh, I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, like somebody said, like they have like 40K in one folder. That's crazy to have it in a folder, because a lot of times you want to look through the folder and be like, oh, what can I play next in my 80s folder?
Something you've never thought of. Yeah.
Right. And if you have that many songs, it's not going to happen. But if you have like 200 songs and you know what you just added last, or you could just get crazy and just do mix and key. And don't worry about any titles or songs or anything, and just do all 8A or 9B and do it that way. But yeah, that's it is work. Like it's a job. It takes time, and that's what people don't understand. Like we don't just DJ for 4 or 5 hours at an event. We prepare our music. We figure things out. We have to update. We have to this. We have to that, and that kind of stuff takes time. And like I said, I mean, if you have it organized the way you think and the way you want it organized, it shouldn't be crazy for you to find music, you know, in your crates and in your folders. If you organize it that way, like, okay, I have 500 songs now in this folder. Let me try to figure out oh, okay, these are like my hot ones that I always play. Okay, hot 80s tracks. However you want it, whatever you want to call it.
That's something that I do.
It's your music.
Section. Yeah, up in the comment section, I have a thing called, how did I mark that? Party classics. And anytime a song becomes an older song that you go, I'm going to play this again after 10 years, it gets marked party classics. So when I'm in a pinch and I know I want a song that everybody's going to know, whether it be, Bust a Move or Salt and Pepper or whatever, they get marked party classics. So then
right. So it's like that's the way you do it. Somebody else might call that a different folder. Like
it's not a folder. That's not a folder.
Right. You write it on the notes, like on the tag, whatever. It's in the notes. Yeah. Exactly.
See, you do the tag, and I'm like with what Shani's kind of. I do folders.
Right.
I put mine into the folders.
I do both.
Well,
because I want to search the folder like Shani, but also I'm going to go, I want to do this BPM to this BPM urban remake, not urban remix. So I want to look for all the remakes of a song. So I mark them as remakes and remixes and tropical house remix. And
sure. Like for my hip hop, I have my classic old school jams, and then I have my hot garbage new hip hop. That's the name of my folder. Hot garbage new hip hop.
Yeah, Ian, that is exactly
Future or anybody else. Mask off and Rolex and everything is in my hot garbage new hip hop.
That's funny.
Now anybody else might call it something else because they love that hip hop.
Bangers, yeah,
that might be hip hop bangers for them.
Yeah,
and it is for me too because it packs my dance floor at the club. Like it packs it, but to my ears and to my lifestyle, it is not Biggie. It is not Tupac. It is not It is not any of those. It's not, so it's not my classic hip hop music.
For Ian, you hit the nail on the head there. Literally, if you look in my computer, because I had the promo only platinum series, they gave you so many country songs in that. Yeah. And those country songs are in a folder called Country Crap. No joke. They had another question on here, which I thought would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think this is actually a Ben Stowe question. Do you have a rule of thumb for how many continuous watts per head at an indoor venue?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Okay. Go for it.
Whatever my speakers are pumped.
Watts ag have absolutely no bearing on this answer whatsoever. It's all about SPL, and even with the SPL, basically is the sound pressure that the speaker can produce. But there's a second aspect to this is the dispersion in conjunction with how loud the speaker can get. I'll give you an example with this past, not this weekend, but the weekend before. I was using the EKX and the ETX, two different speakers, but I had the same size speakers. They're electro voice. ETX will give me a longer throw. If you were doing and listening to the two, I would swear that those two were exact same volume as I had them sitting side by side. They're about 20 feet apart. But Lori and I were listening to them because we wanted to find out which one we thought was, is the ETX worth them extra money? I mean, it's a great question. Volume, I would say, was identical. But as we walked away and did an A-B, the ETX has a longer throw. It has a narrower throw. And now their specs may not show that. I think it does. I don't think the ETX has the wide dispersion. It's not, and not that it's huge, but there is a difference between a dispersion, I think, between the EKX and ETX. In this particular case, if I had a room that was a longer room, I would do better with the ETX if it was like a long, narrow room. And I could probably get away with less wattage because the speaker is more efficient and it can do its thing and it can give me a lot of pressure. If it's a wider room, kind of a short, wider room, I'm going to probably do better with a wide dispersion. That might even go into something like a line array with the Bose could be a better option for that. It's not going to be anything with wattage because those Bose in some rooms can get very, very loud and do a very nice coverage of that. Now, are they going to work in every room the best? No. Is that ETX going to work in every room the best? No. Is there a rule of thumb with wattage? Wattage, I can show you a 1,000-watt speaker that I heard at NAMM that isn't going to get much louder than a boombox because they're so incredibly inefficient. But the Chinese company had a great deal on these 1,000-watt amps that probably weren't really truly putting out 1,000 watts, but the actual cones in the speaker were probably something that's doing like 80 SPL or 60 whatever SPL at 1 watt and 1 meter instead of getting up in that 90 range, which is what a typical better quality speaker would have. So
and you have to know how to use it. Like, let's be honest too. You have
Yeah.
to know how to utilize your speaker the right
exactly.
way.
And it used to be that my thought was always you could just get one good quality speakers or one good quality sound system and it'd work everywhere. And really, yeah, I can do the job in most applications, but to do the job and to be optimal in all situations, the wedding I did on Saturday night, I went with the 15-inch EKX speakers, and the reason I went with those is because of the sound in that room. I knew how it would react, and I figured that the 15-inch was going to be the best without the subs below because that room can get boomy very quickly. So that's the route I went with that. If I have a wedding I did about a month and a half ago, I went with the 18-inch sub and a 12-inch ETX top because it was a longer room. I wanted the thump on the dance floor, but I knew I wanted that mids and highs to go a longer distance. So I went that route. And I guess after our test the other day, I was definitely right that the ETX does have a longer throw.
Just don't use your ETX as a monitor like me.
They're expensive.
That's why I went and got $100 Alto TX8 is for monitor.
That's my home monitor.
Right back there.
That's my home monitor, though. I use this one.
And there's nothing wrong with the $100 speakers. I was actually looking.
Yeah, it works. Yeah,
they can do a nice job, and for the right application, they're fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got somewhere back there. I have the CPX, the American Audio CPX for 4th of July. I put up a post. What sound system we're going to use for the 4th of July? I set 2 of the CPX speakers outside, ran those through the little Go Rack device, and I streamed Amazon Music off the iMac and everything outside, put the speakers up because we were up by the house, and they did a fabulous job. Now, when they progressed and such and the temperatures got up, you could start to hear something called speaker fatigue, and that's a whole nother story. But they did a nice enough job for that. I mean, if you were being fussy with the sound, you would probably like, oh yeah, no, it's not sounding quite as good. But for most, I mean, the family, they're like, wow, this sounds great. And what are they, $150 speakers or something like that a piece? So they're cheap things, and they can still do a nice job when you need them to. Okay, I'm done.
Next question. We can expand upon this question. Why do photographers put their tripods and equipment in front of the DJ booth?
Because they can.
That's a good enough answer right there, I think.
Oh, most of the time they look at the DJ area. Very few DJs. I mean, some really make it look beautiful. Most don't. So they're just used to putting the junk by the junk is really, I think, the best way to describe it, which is sad.
I think that's a good analogy right there, John, not calling people stuff's junk. But if you really make your setup look really nice and put a lot of effort into how you present the speakers, present your table, you probably would have a lot less chance of people, can I throw my coat here? Can I plug in here? Can I leave this here?
Just glow totems. With the wedding, I used glow totems. It was at a place in which I've had issues where people would come in and they put jackets or they would put things up there. And it's like, let's try to make it so that we're illuminated in front. So that was a spot where I used I had a white tablecloth. We did the glow table, and then I had the glow totems. Well, that basically made everything in front glow, and then the lighting and such I had in back. Well, there's really no spot up there that they could hide that their camera equipment. So the photographer was like, oh, and then she went and she kind of hid her stuff. She did hide it behind my stuff, my table, which I was okay with because it was like 4 or 5 feet behind me. It wasn't a big deal. So I think by making that front really look nice. And now the little wedding I did Saturday night was one of these. It was basically a 15-minute setup and 15-minute out because that's what the venue would allow me, and they didn't want anything fancy. It was a real small family wedding. So I didn't spend a whole ton of time changing and making everything super, super pretty. It was basically speakers on the tripods, cords down to speakers, and take them to the back wall, plug them in, and boom, we were going. In that particular case, I had a keyboardist who came in and set their X stand next to my speakers, and that didn't look the greatest, but yeah, I don't care.
That's when you walk in front and you pretend trip over everything. Oh, whoa, my back. Oh, it's a photographer. God, I hope I could DJ now.
That's awesome. I'm going to be doing that.
Well, Howie kind of hits on something in that, I mean, one is obviously making your setup look nice and especially if you can kind of shine a light so they can't, or if you're shining the light, it's on their stuff. But I think, one of those things is that, the communication beforehand, the communication the day of, when they get there, the first thing that I do when I'm meeting them, if I see they've got a bag and I know there's a place that they can put it where kind of like John said, it's going to be behind me. It's going to be kind of out of the way. It's not going to look like it's my stuff, but yet it's also going to be a place that they can use it. And it's not just in a place that could be in the way. I kind of talk to them. I kind of, set the stage for them as best I can. So they know, okay, they can put their back here. Now, when we're talking about tripods, I also kind of conveniently, I've worked with enough photographers where I know where the good ones put their tripods. So I kind of, hey, by the way, over here's a good spot. It's kind of out of the way. If you want to put your tripod here, it might be a good thing. I don't ever try and come across as know-it-all, but just from one of those, hey, I've been in here before. This might be work for you. And a lot of them recognize that. And they also recognize that I'm paying attention to what they're doing. So it kind of keeps them from just doing whatever. Now, and I say that, I've had ones that exactly as was said, they put the tripod literally right in the middle of my speakers are here. I'm standing here. The tripod went right here. I'm like, and she moved it like 5 times. She put it there and then she didn't like it. So she moved it over here and then it would always come back in front of me.
My question is do those photographers do room shots? Cause I know my photographers always do a room shot before everybody comes into the room. And do they literally have their tripods sitting there in the middle of your DJ booth, for the room shot? Cause they get mad if you could see your arm and you're not ducking down or you didn't move down to the spot or somebody's trying to bring water in the room. We're doing a room shot. Can you move?
Yeah.
Right there.
There's no such thing. I shouldn't say there's no such thing. They don't do room shots where I'm at because by the time the photographers get there, there's people in the room.
We're moving.
We have cocktail and reception, same room.
Okay.
They have other kind of shots there then, but not room shots.
Yeah.
I
was just envisioning when Dan was talking about spotlighting the photographer, and I could just see him with one of these big work lights, and they come up there, and he turns the thing on, and hey, get out! And it's just
you do it with the moving heads.
The moving heads.
Then it's more accidental.
The techno.
I'm telling you, I fake trip over stuff. Oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back.
Wait, that's a song, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's why I did that. Thank you, Dad. Thank you.
I gotcha.
Yes. Yeah. No, or I'm honest and I'm like, look, boo boo, you have to move your stuff. I have a dragon front board. It's a gorgeous front board. It's sexy. Your tripod is not sexy. It's just not, boo boo. You got to move it. Move it in the corner.
You'll be here 4 hours. You go home now.
You go home now.
A venue will not let the DJ use subs, and they want a dB meter to monitor the sound. Has anyone experienced this?
Absolutely.
Yes, I have.
There was a venue. Now they've since stopped doing things. I think because they just realized what they were up against. They were literally in the middle of town doing an outdoor tent setup. And that was their venue. It was an outdoor tent. They installed this tent. And yeah, it was listen, no subs, and I'm going to be checking DB if you don't. And so I had my phone and I just used my phone. I made sure that I was required, not required, but he asked me to stay at 90 where I was at, so that by the time it left the tent on the other side where the houses that became the issue, it wasn't anywhere near them for that. It's a product of, unfortunately, venues not being where they should be.
Because they have DJs that don't know what they're doing, that brought their subs in and did this and did that. And then that's when they're like, we are not doing this anymore, because they haven't had a real DJ that knows what they're doing, that brings it. And you can't argue with them. You just have to, if you want to work there, you have to deal with it. And that's the reason why a lot of them do what they do, because they just had idiot DJs that came in there and ruined it for everybody else.
Well, I would also say at least in the case of where I'm talking about and some of the other ones, sometimes it's just neighbors who don't want a venue.
Yeah.
Somebody got the bright idea to put this venue here. It wasn't, when I moved to this house, there was nothing there. Right. And now they decide that they're going to hold all these parties every weekend when I'm trying to sleep. And because the ordinances are such they're going to be like, okay, 10 o'clock, that's when I can call the police, and better believe I'm going to be on there because I want that venue gone. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes it's not the idiot DJ. Sometimes it's the cranky neighbor, but their house, their rules.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And this is a prime example of a sound system application. In that particular case, maybe a line array would give you the dispersion without the subs. You'd be able to have the sound in that area, whereas an ETX might throw that sound right to the neighbor's house a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And I've said it before, when it comes to subs, you should feel it, not hear it.
It's true.
But nobody understands that. So that's a non-technical way of tuning your.
And you should always redline when you're a DJ, right?
You're not in the red, you're not rocking. I mean, that's why they made it red, because it rhymes with rocking.
That's
so
what I thought. Isn't that right? No.
Feel free to questions. Otherwise, I'm going to start asking stupid ones.
Oh God! Then I'll log off to make my phone call.
Oh no!
How many of you vote that Shani makes the phone call while the camera is still on? She can mute.
Wait.
But the camera is still on.
Or is it this? Is this?
This was me. I was here.
If
anyone doesn't know that story, I've been traveling all summer, and actually I leave tomorrow, so I'm not at a hotel tonight, but there's always something going on with me. Either I'm eating my dinner or something, and I was using my personal MiFi to log on to the Wi-Fi because it was a stronger signal, but I was using it earlier in the day, and I forgot to plug it in when I got to the hotel because I was really into my dinner. So I was explaining something, and I guess I froze, and then I just logged out and I froze when I was like this. So the boys decided to just be a team player with me, which I totally appreciated. And they all froze in their pose. And that's now our signature. There you go. Always something with me.
The important.
It's our new mannequin. New mannequin pose. Prison nicknames. That's something we've never talked about on this show.
Oh boy.
What?
Howie, red line.
Is anybody watching the HBO show? Yes, you have to. It's a 4-part series.
I don't have HBO.
Okay, well then you'll watch it.
I don't even have TV.
You'll watch it when it's free too. It's the Dr. Dre story. It's awesome. It's totally awesome. It's what?
No, since we're talking about TV, I posted about this. There is a new mock reality show coming out.
Oh God.
With, what's the dude's name? Vanderbeek that was on Dawson's Creek.
James.
Yeah.
Vanderbeek.
He is on the show. He is playing DJ Diplo, and he's faking. And the show is called "What Would Diplo Do?" And they are flat up mocking everything about that world. It's so funny. They have the trailer out. Go to the Rewind Reports page, and the trailer's on there. But there's a point in there where he goes, I just need some different sounds. So he breaks apart a violin, throws it into a blender, and he's catching sounds with a microphone off of that for his next song. And his one manager goes, sometimes I think your brain is an oven that only bakes bad ideas. So go check that out after you check out the Dr. Dre thing.
Yes, and if you're a hip hop head and you haven't seen the Tupac movie, you got to go see it because it was really good.
Tupac Shaker.
So that was good too.
Nobody remembers that.
Just a little. I'm going to throw a spoiler. He dies in the end. Sorry.
How could you do that? How could you do that, Daniel?
Go see it.
Somebody asked a question about uplates. Where was it?
Dr. Dre from Yo MTV Raps.
Don't make me pull out my Yo MTV Raps bubblegum cards, and I have them.
Oh, know your history of Dr. Dre.
It's not there's Dr. Dre, and then there's Dr. Dre.
Right.
There's two different Dr. Dre's.
Yeah.
Please
don't disrespect the hip hop world. Disrespect this hip hop world. Definitely disrespect 2017 hip hop world, please.
Since you're throwing down from the Dr. Dre,
yes,
that era of the MTV Raps, what is the real name to the Ed Lover song?
The Mr. Ed Lover one, the dance?
The one that Ed Lover, Dr. Dre and Ed Lover on MTV Raps.
Yeah.
The song that he did it was called the Ed Lover Dance. What was the real name to it?
I don't know. I just know the dance. I just know the dance of it. What was it? I don't know. What was the name?
976 song.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I just knew
Not
it as
976. It was 900 number. 900 number. Sorry, 976 is not Drake. Is it Drake?
Drake? Whatever.
What is this? It's Drake, right?
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, passion fruit, hot light bling, whatever. Yeah, Drake.
That's all in that folder.
Yeah, that's all in that. No, actually, yeah.
Yeah, 976 is Drake, but it's the 900 number is the name of the actual song.
I didn't know that because I just knew it as like the dance.
Everybody did, yeah. But it actually has a name, yeah.
And now to kind of segue stuff, and Scribble, who came from that whole MTV era, if you go to DJ, well, I'm going to assume he's spinning again
somewhere
this year. I'm going to assume he's not doing the promo only summer session. That's actually in 2 weeks. That's crazy. Their conference is in like a week and a half when it used to be the same time as ours. So I'm a little mad about that, but yeah. So Scribble, if you guys know your history, he always spins at DJ Times and puts on an incredible show, no matter where it is. Sometimes it's not in the greatest spots, like last year, but he does. He definitely gives 1,000% when he spins. So hopefully,
have you guys played? Because they're dropping number songs in the chat room. Okay. 8765309, and we did the 900 number, and then Ian had the proper number for the the 679.
Yeah.
Have any of you been playing that suicide hotline song?
I have not.
I downloaded it. I've never played it yet.
I have not played it, but I played Jay-Z's new song.
444. I haven't played that yet.
I played that this weekend at the club just because everybody was like, damn, the new Jay-Z that was on, Tidal. And I'm like, actually I do, because now it's on everywhere else.
Everywhere else, yeah.
So yeah.
I wonder if they have any remixes of it out right yet.
Not yet. I would say probably like give it another week or two.
Well, how much do I get a prize if I can find a remix
right now
while you're talking? Yeah.
Yeah, you get the T-shirt back that you never sent me.
Hey, you never gave me a place to send it, and I know that it's a very good.
Yeah, for those
it's a very good mentality to guard.
That T-shirt from our trivia. Just saying.
I'm just saying that it's a very good idea that you don't give me information about you. That's why you're not. Just bring it. You're complaining about a smart decision on your half.
just bring it to the expo.
I'm actually gonna if I go this year, I'm gonna bring a bunch.
Dan, I have your swag. I have your Sprite swag.
I was actually just kind of half kidding on that, but I'll take it.
Like you're like, do you have swag? I'm like, I'll bring you some swag. So I do. I have your Sprite swag for you.
Yeah, because nobody wanted to come bother the DJ. I saw that. Those lines. I was like, what the heck?
That was for like one of those the claw machines. We had 2 claw machines and we got you 2 tries. And if you got like the red ball, you got like a hat. If you got this, but like those were so long. And for those that don't know, and then I Snapchatted. People don't know the DJ has the swag too, but nobody wanted to come over to me. All they had to do is come over and be like, do you have any Sprite swag? And I'd be like, here you go. But they were standing in those lines for like 45 minutes. And I'm like, go on a ride. Go on a roller coaster. Do you really need like a Sprite towel? Just go. Yeah. So I have the swag for you that you asked for.
Sweet.
But I will be bringing T-shirts to the expo, so I'm going to be giving bunches of them away this year. Plus, just for the record, I did not find a remix, but I did find the dirty and clean version, so I can download either one of those.
Oh. I have a question. Okay, so somebody asked, this is going to be more than a 2-minute answer, but I have a question. How do you guys deal with a client who is really cheap and wants to pay cheap? Okay, so here's the thing. Know your worth. If you don't mind doing a cheap party, then do it. But if you don't mind turning down the party because of your worth and how much money you charge, then you just let them know, look, this is what I charge. But like, if you don't mind doing it, then do it for, if you're just starting out. But if you want to give a discount. But like I always say to people, know your worth and add tax.
If your municipality charges tax.
What I was going to say, the one issue that you do have to keep in mind with that discount, no matter what is, it will most likely come back on you.
Yep.
In other words, hey, you did my friend's event and it was not anywhere near what you're trying to charge me now. And so if you keep that in mind, if you realize that it's going to come back to you, but again, like Shani said, do you want to do the event or not? And if the question is, I want to do it because it's money, then is it enough money or not? And if you want to do the event because it's like, for example, school dances, proms for me make less than weddings. Pure and simple, just the way it is and the way my price structure is on it. I don't put in the effort that I need to get my prices where they need to for school dances. So if I do a school dance, it's because I want to do a school dance, not I need the money for that event, because I'm going to get paid more for a wedding, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that exactly, Dan, exactly. You know what you're saying? Like for us, we do school parties just because our market is mitzvahs. So if we're in the right area for that school dance and we know we can, get some clientele and book $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 mitzvah from doing a school dance, then we're going to do it because it's worth it for us. But if it's just like a wedding that wants a $500 DJ and that is not what we charge, no, we won't, we're not going to put ourselves in that type of situation to say, okay, we'll do it, because guess what? Like Dan said, you do that for that $500, their friends now are going to call you and say, well, you charged, Sue and John 500. So I don't understand why we can't get ours for 500, and it's going to be a whole domino effect for you. So know your worth, know what you want to charge. If you're just starting out and you're just in the business and you're trying to get your name out there, that's different. But if you've already made a name for yourself, it's okay to decline events. It's okay to say, look, I'm not the right DJ for you. This is what I charge, but this is why I charge what I charge. I've been in the business for this so many years, blah, blah, blah. I have this, da, da, da. You can look at my, go on my website, see what people say about me, look at what we do, da, 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 da. And, explain yourself. You don't just have to be like, no, sorry. Hope that helps.
I think there's a few factors involved. First off, what kind of a time frame in advance are you booking? Are you booking something a month out where you're probably not going to pick up that higher paying gig? Is it something they want to book next year and they want to be cheap? I mean, the more time you have between the contact and the booking, the more time you're going to have to book a real dollar amount. So if somebody calls you up 2 days ahead of time, hey, if it's open, it could be basically found money is the best way to describe it. If you've got a time though, before the show, you should have an idea in your head of what you need to make. There's only so many Saturdays that we can work in a calendar year. In Minnesota, we figured basically we've got about 20 Saturdays that can be wedding events. And if I want to be able to make more than minimum wage at my, the hourly minimum wage, or if I want to make more than the poverty level, for those 20 nights and then the 10 that I can get for school dances and maybe 5 other events or what have you, I've got to be charging X. I know I have to be charging this amount. Now, if I charge less than that, then I have to make that up somewhere else. And I should know as a business person that, okay, it's going to cost me about $300 just to produce a show, just to go out between the cost of my music and the gear and the travel and whatever. That's not even paying myself a dime. You need to know these things and spend a little time with it, and you need to walk away. There's going to be times you walk away, and hopefully there will be more times where you won't, or they'll say, you know what, you're right, we can maybe bump up. So let's just give you an example. Say they're saying, you know what, we want you to come in, we want to pay you $200 for the night, and you're like, well, geez, my regular rate's $600 for that show. It might be a negotiating thing. I've had numerous venues that will want to negotiate, and it's like, well, here's the deal: is that we can do it. And do it at that rate of 400, but I can't go down to 200. Sometimes they'll fudge, and sometimes they won't. You've got to be ready to walk, because as Dan said earlier, if you do give in to them once, you become basically their for the rest of the time you're working with them. And if you're okay with that, fine. But I think after you do it once, you're going to hate yourself, and you're not going to want to go back. And yet then you're going to be there, and they're going to refer you to people who are expecting you to do it for $200. And then all of a sudden you've got these people who are now like, what are you think you're so great now that you charge them $200 and da, 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 da. So know what you need. And as Shani said, show your value.
I heard a guy say this one time, and it wasn't even having to do with DJs. He was talking about pricing yourself. And he said one of the things you have to do is figure out who you are. And he meant by brand wise. He goes, so think about it, brands you already know. Are you the Walmart of what you do? Are you the Old Navy of what you do? Are you the Armani of what you do? And kind of stick to that, within range, but you kind of have to figure out, okay, I'm this DJ for now, and kind of stick to it.
And it can be very empowering for yourself to actually be able to say no. That was kind of the weirdest thing. Like when I got my business to a position where I said no, not because I was already booked for the weekend, but because I had made plans to spend it with my family. And so it was just like, no, I'm sorry. I appreciate the call. Here's some other people you can recommend. And it was like, when I sat back and I got done, I was like, whoa. And it just it kind of changed my mentality. It gave me kind of the confidence that I needed to be able to actually ask for that higher rate when I needed it. And just kind of go forward from there.
Cool. We should wrap things up. It's getting to be that time, and I need to go and make sure kids are headed to bed.
Again,
Shanie's got to go make a call.
Yeah, I got to make a call because I'm headed to LA tomorrow.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a gang sign.
Oh, there you go. LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
look
know
like
your
a
gang
kind
sign.
of a 4.
That's what I was wondering. It's like, is channel 4? Or is he...
LA.
I was like, what is...
Send us your questions, the shows you want us on, because I'm being honest with you. We are debating lots of the programming that we do here on Disc Jockey News, and you may lose us if you don't be involved. And we're not going to do a pledge drive. We promise you we'll not do a pledge drive. But we are asking you not to phone in your pledges, but to send in your ideas, your thoughts. If you like it, you don't like it. If you can take the time to go beyond that one person who already gave us a thumbs down, punk.
Yeah, that was before we started, so they were the
Yeah,
ones.
I'd love to know who that is.
They probably were like, well, I'm waiting
Seriously.
too long.
Anybody who knows, that could be anybody who gives a thumbs down. Come talk to me. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. They're not jokes, but seriously, send us ideas.
And the most
Here's the one thing I will say. There were quite a few questions that I think, just by the way the chat room was scrolling, that we kind of missed. And so keep in mind that we're talking and looking at a screen at the same time. It gets kind of crazy. But
yeah, sorry.
Feel free if you did not get your question answered, find MJ, send them to him, just because. Send him. Okay, he can compile them, and if we don't get them as topics per se for the week, next open question night.
That's what we're going to do next.
Go ahead and kind of just hammer them right away. So, yeah,
that's what we're going to do next. So Dan and Shanie walked into a bar. Now,
and they said ouch.
And John ducked.
John ducked.
Ouch. Ouch.
There's one for Dan.
All right, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being part of it. Tomorrow we should be back, and now that I figured out what the audio issue was for the mini sessions, we'll be back at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, and we should have our full show going. Yay! Good night, everybody.